Woody, how you doing, bud? Thanks for joining. Wait for a couple of more people here to join us, and then we are going to get started. I am going to do a quick unboxing of a book. And before I get to that, I'm actually going to provide you guys with an update on some news that I broke yesterday. So I don't know if you had a chance to watch the playback or join me yesterday for the live chat that I did yesterday, but I'm actually going to provide an update to that live chat and then unbox a book. And then I also want to show you guys some cool books that I actually found in my collection earlier today. So it'll be hopefully a fun chat, potentially a fast chat like many of these are. You know, this midday thing that I've been doing as of late. It may go actually pretty quick, so we'll see. Santiago, how you doing? Thank you, brother. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Hopefully I can make your work day go a little bit faster. Tony Sanders, how you doing, brother? I'm going to do an update on yesterday's chat and also just the discussion that you and I have been having over like the last 48 hours, so stay tuned for that. Santiago says he got his first CGC 9.8 coming in the mail. What'd you get, brother? What's the book? Tell me what the book is. I am actually, I've been fighting the urge to look at the grade of my book that was just mailed from CGC. I've been fighting the urge for the last couple of days because, you know, I'm the guy that kind of sort of sits there and hits the refresh button over and over when he has something at CGC. So I've been fighting the urge because I want to do a live unboxing of this book for you guys when it comes in. So I am trying to hold off on looking at the grade. I actually have a total of 16 books sitting with CGC right now. The one has or will be mailed out. And then I have another 15 that are actually almost through the grading process. So those will probably get mailed out, my guess is before the end of the week. So get caught up here. Comic Books, New York City. How you doing, brother? Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for watching all the content. Thank you for saying that you like the content. And welcome to the live show. It's very similar. Someone asked me yesterday, I invited a guy on Instagram to the live chat, and he was like, so, like, what's your live chat? Like, are you trying to sell books or anything? And I'm like, dude, it is an informal gathering of people just having a conversation. I was like, I don't sell books. I just get on there and kind of ramble and hopefully show some cool books. So Santiago got the Greg Land Spidey 800. Oh, wow. Very nice. Congratulations, brother. I actually had that Land Spider-Man. It's in a box right now, my CGC hold box. I want to send it in. I needed to get a little bit of confirmation from some people around the paper defects with the books. I wanted to make sure that CGC wouldn't knock the grade of those Spider-Man 800s because of the paper defects. And it sounds like they're not. Hopefully yours doesn't have those defects, but I know that just about every single copy that I have has those defects. So I think I'm hearing the rumor that you can actually still get a high grade book even with those defects. Thanatos, aka Matt, how you doing, brother? I don't know why I always feel the need to say your screen name followed by your real name. I don't know why I feel that need. All right, so here's the update. So thanks to my buddy Tony Sanders over there. He brought to me a mystery the other day, and he has his channel, solid channel. He allowed me to kind of dig into this mystery and break the news on my channel around the first published comic book related work for J. Scott Campbell, or Jeffrey, as I refer to him. And so we did some research and we found out that Jeffrey's first published comic book work was in fact in Savage Dragon #3. And it was published in 1992. Another subscriber to the channel actually he looked at his own collection, he found the book, and he actually put the photo, which is a photo of Savage Dragon, on Instagram, and he tagged J. Scott Campbell. And he says here, hey, J. Scott Campbell art, can you please confirm this is your first printed artwork in a comic book, Savage Dragon 3, asking for a friend? And lo and behold, J. Scott Campbell actually replied back, which I think is incredibly cool. He says, "It's very likely the case as a fan always," in quotes, "as a fan always." And so both myself and Kingpin Comics, who did the post, both surmised that J. Scott Campbell was indeed confirming that this was his first published work in a comic book. And so you can kind of see here, hopefully on screen, the actual image of Savage Dragon, which is dated 10/12/92. And if you want to go check it out for yourself, it is Kingpin, P-E-N, Comics, C-O-M-I-X. So shout out Kingpin Comics for taking the initiative to actually put this on Instagram and tag J. Scott Campbell. Shout out J. Scott Campbell Art for actually replying, which I think is extremely cool. I actually have an a direct message into another lesser famous artist trying to solve another mystery, and it's been like over a week and the guy hasn't responded. So I think it's really cool that J. Scott Campbell replied back in a timely fashion. And thanks to a little encouragement from DS Comics, I've actually reached out to CGC. I sent them a message kind of explaining and highlighting the research that I did around the fact that this might be the first published work by J. Scott Campbell related to a comic book in Savage Dragon #3. I also sent them the link to the video that I've put up, and I also sent them a link to Kingpin Comics' Instagram post and J. Scott Campbell's confirmation, with the hope that they will look at this research and actually tell us definitively from their perspective whether this is indeed the first appearance of his published work. And if so, my request of them was to update the label notes to reflect that. And if that happens, I have 2 books that are ready to go to CGC. Hopefully they come back as 9.8s, but I have 2 books that I'm going to send off because I think it's going to be really cool to shape something that happens in the industry. You know, part of the reason why I do this stuff is because I think it's fun. You know, I think it's fun. I think it's cool to be able to do some of this stuff, whether it's having chats with you guys or being able to interact with J. Scott Campbell or being able to reach out to CGC and actually affect change. I think it's pretty cool. So let me get caught up on the chat here real quick, see what people are saying. Reggie, you see the steel insane price. Yeah, Lewis. So, brother, I actually have on my whiteboard over here that I was going to do a video on the prices for Hulk 181. I was going to do a video around that because the prices are ridiculous. And what I've realized is that there's like 10,000 copies on the census, CGC census for Hulk 181. And the prices are just continuing to go up. And it's incredible what happened. And I'm super thankful that I picked up the 2 books that I did. One of them is signed 8.0 by Stan Lee. And the other is back on the wall behind me. I think it's an 8.0. No, 8.5. It's actually right over there somewhere. So yeah, prices are definitely crazy on that one. So let me catch up here. Miss Hustle is here. How you doing? Baxter Claire, how you doing? Glad you could join us over in the UK. Thanatos, yeah, check it out. He actually didn't do the cover. He actually had a sketch of Savage Dragon that he put, that was published in the letters section. It's actually the very last page in Savage Dragon #3. And I think I have 2 copies of Savage Dragon #3. So Comic Books in New York City is saying that he thinks it's cool when creators and artists actually engage with people. I completely agree. Brother. I think, you know, that's what's great about social media is that it gives you an opportunity to kind of interact with people that you otherwise would not be able to interact with. But you can only extend your hand, right? You need somebody else to reach out to you. And I think it's really cool when someone takes a time to be able to respond to a fan. I mean, it wasn't a robust response, but it was still a response, which I think is incredibly helpful. So Thanatos is asking whether I hit 800. I think I'm at like 793 or something like that. He's asking about my sub count. I think I'm at like 793. It is like a slow march to 800. But you know, as soon as you get 800, you know, my eyes is really on 1,000. That's really my mark that I'm aiming for. So fingers crossed that we can get there. Backseat driver, you didn't miss anything, brother. So far, I'm just giving a quick update on the fact that J. Scott Campbell actually replied back to us and to some degree, I think, confirmed that Savage Dragon #3 was indeed his first published work as an artist. So if you haven't seen that video, guys, I encourage you to go back and take a look at it. So the other thing I'm going to do is unbox this little thing here. It's actually been sitting here on my desk for a couple of days. I honestly cannot even remember what this thing is. I've been ordering a fair number of books lately and kind of lost track of like what this is. So we're going to open this thing up, and then what I'm going to do then is I got a couple of cool books that I found in my collection today that I'll kind of show you guys that I thought were pretty slick. So cut this thing open. But I've been on a little, not a buying spree, but I've been buying some relatively inexpensive books for a couple of different reasons that I'll talk about eventually when those books come in. I am a huge fan of painter's tape. So this guy, I have a roll of it that is nearby at all times. I am a big fan of painter's tape. So this guy took some extra precaution. He sent me a Gemini mailer with some bubble wrap inside, taped up with painter's tape, so you cannot be upset about that. So I'm actually on the hunt right now. I've been having some negotiation with a guy who has been collecting for over 50 years. He recently came in, I think he says he has about 18,000 books or something like that. Been collecting for 50 years, says he still absolutely loves the hobby. He recently came into a decent collection of some really cool books, and so I've been trying to figure out what he's going to sell and what he's going to keep. I'm hoping that I can make some progress with this guy in the next couple of days. And I'm saying that because there's a really big sale down in Los Angeles this weekend. There are 100 long boxes that someone is putting up for sale down in Los Angeles. And it's about 5 hours away from me. And I would really like to not make a 5-hour drive for some comic books if I can negotiate a pretty sweet deal with this guy. Because the 100 long boxes, I don't even know what's in them, right? The guy told me bronze, silver, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, multiple titles. But there's a big unknown, right? And 5 hours one way is a lot to drive. This is awesome. This is really, really nice. So someone reached out to me. I get a lot of tips as of late. People have been giving me a lot of tips, which I think is awesome. Like Tony Sanders reaching out to me about this mystery. People have been giving me a lot of tips, which I really appreciate. And I think they do it because it's almost like a thank you for the videos that I put out, but it's also giving me things to do videos on. So I appreciate that. But somebody reached out to me, I think it was about 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago, I guess, about some footage that was leaked about the new Spider-Man movie. And there was some speculation that Hydro Man was going to make an appearance in the new Spider-Man movie. And so the tip that I received was to buy the appearances of Hydro Man, specifically Amazing Spider-Man 315 and I think it was Amazing Spider-Man 212. I checked my boxes, realized that I didn't have either one of those books. Like I had the books before and after, a long run before and after, but I didn't actually have those books. So I went out and picked them up. The first one to arrive is Amazing Spider-Man 315. This is actually the appearance, yes, of Hydro Man, but it's also, I believe, the first cover appearance of Venom. So I thought that was really cool. I actually, for whatever reason, did not have this book in my collection, but I do now. And to me, this cover is very reminiscent of those John Romita covers that were done by, I want to say it's like 33, 38, something like that, and maybe like 54 or something. I call them the water covers. Those are, in my mind, iconic books featuring Spider-Man and water. And so this to me was very reminiscent of that type of cover. Those books didn't involve Hydro Man, but this one of course does. So this is a gorgeous copy of this book. Newsstand edition, just gorgeous. There are some small defects on the spine that I think could easily be fixed with a press. And there's really only 3 or 4 of them. You probably couldn't even see them up here. But overall, this book is just in amazing, amazing shape. So definitely a gorgeous book. Definitely happy to have this in the collection. I think I have another copy of this coming, and also a copy of 212, I do believe, which is the first appearance. So we get caught up here. We've got C. Woodard in the house. C. Woodard is running a contest right now, benefiting the community. So if you haven't entered his contest, I encourage you to check that out. Bubs Comics is here. How you doing, brother? Miss Hustle is here. Who else? JD. How you doing, brother? Welcome, welcome, welcome. JD has a great channel out there. Thank you, Tony Sanders, for saying good purchase. Yeah, it was, we'll see what happens with it. I'm an Amazing Spider-Man fan. I'm a Spider-Man fan in general. So it's a book that I need to have. If something happens with it where Hydro Man is actually in the movie, great, or the Sinister Six, because I think that's also the rumor. Who knows? But I think it was it JD? I think it was JD that recently covered this in one of his videos, talking about the Venom appearances. I think he actually spoke about this. I think I saw his video 2 days after someone gave me the tip. And again, I realized I didn't have it for the Hydro Man or for the Venom part. And so again, it kind of gave me a little bit of motivation to check it out. But my man JD, great channel, does an amazing breakdown of some appearances around Thanatos, Silver Surfer. He did some cool covers for Thor recently. So if you haven't checked out his channel, and then of course Venom, I encourage you to check it out. Only do it if you have a surplus of cash, because every time I watch his videos, I feel like I have to go out and spend money, because he pulls out all this stuff and I realize that I don't have a lot of it, and so I have to go out and spend a bunch of money. So only watch it if you have some cash. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to do was I've been spending the last like 3 days organizing my room here. I realized that now that my collection is all in one place, that it was a little bit of a mess. And it was a little bit of a mess because my collection was at the previous house was spread out in a couple of different places. I had boxes in my son's room, my daughter's room, in the garage, in a closet, like they were everywhere. And so, what happens is when you buy books, you bring them in and you just stick them in a box with the hope that you're going to put them where they belong eventually. But over time, it just accumulates and they never go where they're supposed to go. So I actually took some time. I bought some extra short boxes, and I've been giving my books a little bit of breathing room, trying to break them out into separate boxes to get them a little bit organized, and actually going through like the junk box, like the junk drawer in your house, and reorganizing some things to make it work a little bit better. So I've got a lot of boxes in here. And in fact, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw that. So when I was going through the boxes, I actually came across some cool books. A few days ago, somebody reached out to me and they sent me a screen grab from Alex Ross. I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was from Heroes to Icons on Instagram. He sent over to me a really cool Alex Ross image, which is this one right here. Hopefully you can see it, featuring, I think it's like Avengers 700 or something like that, but it was really cool, right? And we had a back and forth while I was in the gym about that cover and Alex Ross in general. And then I was going through my boxes and came across some Alex Ross books, some Alex Ross covers that I actually picked up back in 2008 when I made a momentary stop in the hobby. So I picked up these things. They are Avengers Invaders, and it's a limited series of 12. I don't have all 12, but I have a couple of them. Here's the first one, and these are really, really cool Alex Ross covers. I really wish that I actually had the full run, but I don't. But this is just a really, really cool cover. He does a mean torch down here. A mean torch. It is slick. Here is number 2. I want to say this is actually a variant cover. This one here, even though it doesn't say it, when I looked it up, I think it said variant, but a very cool cover featuring some Avengers there. And I think that is the Sentry. This dude drove me crazy back in the day. If you guys remember how the Sentry was introduced, he was introduced as if he were an old character that's been around forever, and which just caused all kinds of angst for me in my life. Here is another variant that was done. This is Dynamic Forces variant. You can see it right here of number 3. This one is actually a limited edition. And I don't know that I really realized that when I bought it back in the day, but this is limited to 14, almost 1,500 copies. But it's just a really nice black and white cover. And then, of course, it's got a cool certificate of authenticity back here on the back. And then I'm starting to be, you know, I don't know if I ever really said this. Like, I was a fan of Submariner back in the day, and I'm recently getting back into him. And so clearly, as evidenced by this book that I picked up featuring 2 Namors, but this is the actual regular cover of number 3 of 12. But a very cool cover featuring like the original Submariner, and I think the more modern version. So I don't remember the story, to be honest, on this. I'll have to go back and look at it. And then here's another number 4. This one, the way that this one is done really reminds me of Amazing Spider-Man 800. With the reds and the tone of the reds, it really reminds me of the cover that I think was done by Alex Ross. So very cool there. And then here is the last one that I have, number 5. So again, I was only in the hobby for a brief stint back in 2008, and I guess I stopped around number 5. But this one isn't as cool as the others, but it is still a pretty nice Alex Ross cover. But some good stuff here. So I think I just saw here that Tony Sanders made the comment about Submariner needing his own movie. I would completely agree. And in fact, that's part of the reason why I went out and picked up those Submariner number 1, his solo series. Then I talked to a couple of people who helped me to realize that the movie rights for Submariner were a bit convoluted, where originally I think the movie rights back in like 1938 or something like that were awarded to one company. But the company that I think originally published the Submariner actually sold itself and then became Marvel. The movie company and Marvel still basically own the rights, even though nothing's ever been produced. And so who knows if we'll ever see a Submariner movie. My hope is that, you know, they can work out some deal where whoever believes that they actually own the rights, they can purchase the rights from the other person and be able to put them in a movie or something like that. But it'll be definitely cool. So Bub Comics is making a comment here, double the name or double the fun. So JD is talking about Illuminati. I'm not sure what that's referring to, JD, sorry, but Comic Books New NYC is asking if I have the Iron Man Submariner one-shot number 1. Brother, I still want that book. I saw that book a couple of months ago when I was down in Dallas, Texas, passed on it. I see it again pop up on eBay, and in fact, I put a bid in on one about 2 weeks ago. Didn't win, and there's a lot of them out there, and they're actually not that expensive. So sooner or later, I will pick that book up because I think it's a really, really cool book out there. So get caught up here. I think I'm pretty caught up. So we love comics. Chris, welcome, brother. How you doing? Swipe Goat, I don't know what that is. SWP Goat 99, welcome. So just a quick recap before I break this thing off. You know, I like to jump on here, hit it real quick, and then keep it moving so you guys can get back to your day and I can do the same. I announced the other day that Savage Dragon number 3 was possibly the first appearance or the first published work related to a comic book done by Jeffrey Scott Campbell or J. Scott Campbell. Kingpin Comics actually put something on Instagram, tagged J. Scott Campbell, who ended up replying, affirming that that was indeed possibly his first published comic book work. I then took my research combined with J. Scott Campbell and Kingpin Comics post on Instagram, sent that over to CGC, and we are waiting, fingers crossed, for CGC to respond in 24 to 48 hours to let me know whether they accept the research or reject the research. My hope is that they will accept it, and if they do, I'll be sending a couple of Savage Dragons number 3 over to them for grading, because what I asked them to do is to update the label notes to reflect that this is the first published work of J. Scott Campbell. So fingers crossed that they accept that research. And I was encouraged to do that by DS Comics, who has done it in the past. I think he's done it a total of 4 times, and he says that he is 2 for 2. So 2 times he's gotten them to make adjustments or modifications, and 2 times they rejected his research. But my thought was, let's have a little fun. Let's do it, and let's see how they respond, and maybe they will actually respond in the affirmative. So the other thing that I picked up that I unboxed, in case you're joining a little late, thank you, JD. I appreciate that. So the other thing that I unboxed here was Amazing Spider-Man number 315. This is the first cover appearance of Venom, as you can tell by the creepy head over here. And then it is also an appearance of Hydro Man. There is the speculation that Hydro Man will be in the upcoming movie, the Spider-Man movie. And so I realized in going through my collection that I did not have this Hydro Man book. I didn't have 315, and nor did I have, I believe it's 212. So I've actually gone out and picked up both of those books to cover my bases. They're two books that I probably should have had in my collection already, but didn't, and now I do. I think I want to say I'm getting another copy of 315, in fact, even though this one is pretty darn solid. It is a newsstand copy, a gorgeous, gorgeous copy. The 212 has been a little bit more problematic to get. And it's been problematic because the wraps are really bad. If you jump on eBay right now and you search for it, you're probably going to see close to a dozen books. Most of them are direct. The ones that aren't are newsstand, but they have really bad wraps where the comic code stamp is basically off the edge of the page and trimmed. And then I saw one where it was so off center that almost the title was actually cut off. So they're not very good copies. So I'm kind of holding out, trying to find another really, really good copy. I think the one that I have coming to me is in good shape. So fingers crossed. So Victor just picked up Strange Tales 107, which is a cover of Human Torch and Submariner. Very nice. I was actually on DS Comics actually reached out to me last night about a book on a site that had come up featuring, it was Alex Schomburg cover featuring Human Torch and Submariner. A really, really nice book. It's a little bit more than what I want to spend right now, but eventually I'm going to get into the Golden Age. That is a message for Chris over at We Love Comics, because he tells me as soon as I buy my first Golden Age book, I will be hooked and I will not look back. So I am holding off buying that first Golden Age book because it is an addictive thing from what I hear. But those Human Torch books, man, I am a fan of Human Torch, and you know, for the life of me, I cannot remember where, how, or when I was first exposed to Human Torch back as a kid. I clearly don't have any of those books, but I absolutely wish that I did. So looking at Captain Marvel versus Submariner, good stuff. Tony Sanders, track that one down. Victor, congrats on your Strange Tales 107, by the way. I don't think I said that, so good luck with that. Tales to Astonish 100 with Submariner Hulk is that is a cool cover. I've seen it. That is a cool cover. I do like that one. Thanatos, yeah, man, everyone's here, brother. This midday time is a very good time. I've been doing live chats, I think, for the last 3 days or something like that. Yes, Chris, I was exposed. Someone exposed themselves? I don't know. You know what I mean. So SWP Goat 99 is basically saying the Golden Age is a drug that he is not ready to sample just yet. I have the book sitting over here. I haven't read it yet, but I think that, is it Bone Parish, about a drug, an addictive drug that is made from the cremated remains of humans? Maybe that's what Golden Age books are made of. I don't know. So maybe I think again, and this is my rationale that I've been telling people, is that there are some Golden Age books that I absolutely love that I think are really cool, like the Schomburg covers that Human Torch did. Like number 2 is really nice. Number 8, I think I'm a big fan of number 8. There are a lot of them that I would like to add to my collection, but there are so many other, you know, Silver and Bronze Age books that I would like to get that are superhero related, that I want to maybe focus there before I split my attention into Golden Age. And so There are so many other books that I would like to get, like, you know, Fantastic Four #1. I'd like to get that. You know, Avengers #1. I'd like to get that eventually. That's not really a pressing issue, but there are so many wonderful books that are in the Silver Age, Bronze Age that I'd like to pick up before I go to Golden Age. So I'm trying to keep my powder dry until then. Yeah, I am never getting a DC book, my friend. So Chris is making a comment here about picking up my first DC Golden Age book. I am never going to do that. Even though I will tell you, those Batman books are really nice. The Batman books with like the yellow on them, oh, they are really nice. Similar to how I feel about the Green Lantern pink covers that Thanatos is always showing. There are really some gorgeous books out there. Hey, question for you guys. Speaking of Batman, there was and I was going to do a video on this, and then I didn't see any evidence of it, and then the days kind of got away from me. There was supposed to be, on the 16th of this month, an auction on eBay where supposedly the guy that actually created Batman was going to be, his family was going to be releasing some original artwork on eBay for sale. Supposedly this guy came up with the idea for Batman, the name for Nightwing. Bob Kane and others saw it and, you know, stole his Batman and published it a couple of years after they were first exposed to it. I checked eBay, I think it was on the 16th and 17th. I didn't see it listed. I'm not sure whether you guys have seen it. No, it's not Bill Fingers. It is not. Supposedly this guy was at a fair or art show or something like that where Bob Kane was there, and the family says that he was exposed to this artwork and a couple of years later came out with his own version of Batman. So, but it was not Bill Finger. It's not Bill Finger. So JD is making a comment. He almost pulled the trigger on Captain America 7 2.5 for 2K in a trade. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of Captain America. I don't really know those books. But why did you not pull Bill Toes? Oh, you guys are hilarious. You guys are hilarious. So it doesn't sound like anybody knows anything about the Joey Knuckles. You gotta have a Joey Knuckles. If you're gonna have a Bill Toes, you gotta have a Joey Knuckles. Anyway, so I wanna thank you guys as always for taking time out of your day to join me on these midday chats. I actually have a lot of fun doing these things, partly because people come in here, Harry Harmonica, people come in here and make jokes, which I think is fun, right? Because all of this should be fun, and I have fun doing it, and I think you guys have fun kind of joining. So, Poor Man's Comics, how you doing, brother? Backseat Driver, my man. So, Backseat Driver, it is not that I don't like Cap. I don't dislike any of the characters, to be honest with you. I just don't know if I connect with the characters as much, right? Captain America to me has always been like so perfect. Even when he's not perfect, he's being perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I've never really connected to that character that way. You know, I connected more with like the mutants, for example, because they were like outsiders. They were outcasts. They were people that were trying to do the right thing, but were oftentimes misunderstood. And maybe that's how I am as a person, right? Maybe that's why I gravitated towards them. I really liked Peter Parker, right? Peter Parker, because he had this desire to do what was right. He was definitely a family guy, but he didn't always do the right thing, right? He was very confused, and he was very sometimes caught up in his own head and trying to do what he believed to be right. I liked that. He was sarcastic. I'm super sarcastic, right? So he's awkward. So I enjoy Peter Parker. Wolverine, another like outsider, a loner, but one that tends to do the right thing when the right thing has to be done. These are characters that speak to me, that maybe I see a little bit of myself in. Whereas Captain America, I don't necessarily connect with Captain America. That's not really my thing. I think he's a great character. If he's in a book, I enjoy reading him, but I've never actually bought a Captain America book. Not a single one. And I have several in my collection. Some Stranko covers, but I've never actually purposefully bought a Captain America book. So yeah, so I mean, there's almost typically a reason why I do some of the things that I do. And for me, it's not about disliking them because I think all of these characters are wonderful. I think all of these characters like resonate with people in some way, shape or form, you know, like Daredevil character. Like I read Daredevil, but I never truly connected with him, but I could see how people could, you know? So again, there's always a reason for it, you know? And I think, you know, again, like Tony Sanders, I've seen his mantle, right? He has a ton of Captain Marvel stuff. There is something about Captain Marvel that resonates with him, and that's why he buys it. And I think that that's wonderful. I say this all the time, and I know you guys get it, right? That there is so much room in comic books that you can do it any way you choose to. You can collect what you collect. You can buy what you want to buy. You can, you know, store them and bag them and slab them or don't slab them, or, you know what I'm saying? There is so much diversity amongst us, and the comic books are so diverse that I think we can all find a sweet spot for ourselves where we can be comfortable. And I think that's what this is all about. JD is saying he's a Thor nut. Brother, I actually thought you were a Silver Surfer nut, to be honest with you. With that Silver Surfer shirt you had on when you did that video, I was like, this dude is a Silver Surfer nut. But clearly, Miss Hustle's making a comment. How boring would it be if we were all the same? Absolutely. But I think diversity is important, but I think making room for diverse thought is also important, right? Giving people the freedom to like what they like and you be okay with them liking something that's different from you. I think that that's where you want to be. Like, people don't always have to agree with me. That's cool. Like, there are people that comment on my videos from time to time, something that I perceive to be negative or is against what I say. I still like their comment. I still give them a thumbs up. I still respond, maybe not as robustly because I'm not going to argue. You have your own opinion. That's cool. So do I, you know? And I think that that's what's cool about all this stuff. Knights of Old is saying Cap agrees with me. See, again, Stay Puff, how you doing, brother? Stay Puff likes X-Men and Spider-Man. My favorites, brother. That's my favorite team and one of my favorite characters. So again, when you look at my collection, I have 4 boxes of Spider-Man. Right? And you're talking about Web of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Amazing, and then a bunch of just random like Spidey 1 stuff. So again, it's like, that's what's wonderful about this hobby. You know, Chris loves strawberry shortcake. That's on him. You know, I thought it was more like Powder Puff Girls or whatever that thing is. But, you know, there's room enough for everybody. So oh my goodness, never stop collecting. He has 4 boxes of nothing but Darkhawk and Sleepwalker. 4 whole long boxes just full of that stuff. I was, as I mentioned earlier in the chat, I was organizing my collection today, and I actually found that I have 5 Wildcats by Jim Lee. Just number 1s, 5 of them spread out over multiple boxes. So I'm definitely, I think I have just about 11 New Warriors number 100s. So I think it's one of those things that you know, you see it, you like it, you buy it. But yeah, I don't know why Never Stop Collecting has 4 long boxes of Darkhawk and Sleepwalker. I don't really understand that. All right. So again, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I want to thank you guys for continuing to like respond to the videos that I put up. I genuinely do these videos because I have fun. And when you guys comment and you make funny comments or you make comments where you're supporting what I'm trying to do, it's just a continuation of helping me to enjoy this hobby. I appreciate all of you guys that reach out to me just to have a chat about a book. That's what makes all of this fun. So I want to thank you guys for continuing to support this channel, continuing to support me. And I just ask that you keep it up because I'm definitely having a good time and I hope you are as well. Take care.